It's Thursday, May 16. Good afternoon. I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. Special welcome to those of you watching online at onespotmedia.com. The migration of the country's nurses continues to be a burden on the health sector, but the Nurses Association of Jamaica, NAJ, says even though it's a cause for concern, there are enough trained nurses to replace them. However, NAJ President Carmen Johnson says not enough nurses are being hired. Details in this report from TVJ's Prince Moore.
More than 500 nurses are being trained per year, but only a third of them gets employed in the nation's public health sector. Speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica program on Wednesday, President of the Nurses Association of Jamaica, NAJ, Carmen Johnson, said many trained nurses are unemployed.
Public sector employs about 3,600 and a little more than that. And so if you are graduating or having persons sitting exam 500 per year, it means you're putting out more than you can.
But nobody's staying.
One of the issues we had is how they were employed. And so persons that have graduated and they sit for a long time based on the fact that we had a period when they were saying we can only employ based on replacement, and they were saying that, oh, you cannot expand your public sector, and so it also impacted healthcare. And so you have persons sitting for years waiting to be employed and was being employed, and so they choose other option, whether to go private sector or to see how they can get to work.
She says with more than 500 nurses migrating each year, the government must do more to employ those who remain and are not working.
We are hoping now with the fact that presents itself and stares us in the face that we lost over 534 nurses last year, that the employers will recognize that we need to move with some alacrity in ensuring that we are able to offer the populace the level of health care that we ought.
The NAJ president asserts that after migration, the remaining nurses are overworked. She pointed out that in some hospitals, there are only 2 nurses caring for up to 32 patients on a ward. Ms. Johnson mentioned that the NAJ is conducting research to identify the current nursing ratio, which should reduce the problem.
Some areas like in California is 1 to 5, normal medical surgical patients. Some other areas will tell you 1 to 8.
I read here that ours is 1 to 18.
But in Jamaica, we are up to an average of 1 to 18.
1 to 18.
1 to 18. So you may go to a facility where there's a ward of 30 or there's a ward of 32 or a ward of 45. You may have 2 nurses or you may have 3 nurses.
Prince Moore, TVJ News.
5 public hospitals will benefit from the government's energy-efficient program this year. The measure is part of plans to cut the light bill of these medical facilities. The places to benefit include Maypen, Bellevue, National Chest, Black River and Savannah Lamar Hospital, as well as the Sir John Golden Rehabilitation Center. Energy Minister Favour Williams outlined the plans during her sectoral presentation in Parliament.
Interventions at these institutions will improve the installation of energy-efficient lighting, solar photovoltaic technology, and solar water heating systems. These upgrades are expected to reduce collective electricity demand, which at current rates translates to more than $41 million in savings.
With increased developments along the western belt of the island, at least one mayor is this afternoon urging the business sector to get ready to maximize on the benefits. As we hear in this report from TVJ's O'Shane Masters, the mayor who wants business to expand.
Brace yourselves. That's the word from Montego Bay's Mayor Homer Davis to members of the business community in St. James. His comments come as he says significant developments which are taking place in the parish will see the economy of the city uplifted. He says with over 2,000 additional rooms being built in the Rose Hall area, the widening of roads, and the establishment of more houses, the business sector in the parish stands to gain financially. In the meantime, Mayor Davis says businesses will now have to seek to take their operations outside of the city. This as they have exceeded the limit. However, he noted that other plans are being put in place, among them extending the city limits.
It is a resolution that should come to our council for June meeting. As it relates to space for further development, I am imploring the chamber to look more west or southwest towards the Mount Pelier area.
He says that area is ready for development as there are acres of land there which would be good for business investments.
Because up there we have the whole cream of milk factory that can be used. It's some, I think it's about over 200,000 square foot of factory space that is up there. And I would love to see the day when some investor can be pointed in that direction.
And for the Montego Bay proper area,
we are now in the process of seeking to lease some of lands owned by the Jamaica Railway Corporation. These lands are, those of us who have been around long enough know about the old railway station down by Light Body Avenue. We are seeking to lease some of that land, and so we are engaging Jamaica Railway Corporation to lease us, and we're talking probably about 250, 300,000 square foot of land that can be used for various things.
He also highlighted plans for road infrastructure, chief among them Barnett Street, which is one of the main thoroughfares. Mayor Davis says this is of significant importance due to the high volume of vehicular and pedestrian traffic.
We're supposed to be getting some $102 or $103 million to do a total overlay of Barnett Street.
He also noted that sidewalks will be erected at a number of primary and high schools. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, addressing the issue of rodents in Montego Bay, St. James, Mayor Homer Davis says drastic measures will soon be taken against vendors who are not taking residents' health seriously.
When the men on the street who do their jerk at nights, at the end of the night, whatever is left, they just lift a manhole and just throw it in there. That is. You want us to go down there tomorrow morning? Yes. We can go. At one point, I said to my superintendent, we probably might have to just weld them. But him said, but Mr. Mayor, if we weld it, how our guys clean them? Have you ever seen our guys cleaning those manholes? They lie down on them belly.
Concerns were also raised about a rat infestation in the transport center. However, the St. James Municipal Corporation said nothing could be done about the matter as the transport center was leased to a private entity. The municipal corporation has gone to court to regain control of the facility. Chief Public Health Inspector for St. Catherine, Grayson Hutchinson, is warning private individuals that they could be in trouble with the law for slaughtering animals without the appropriate license. At the latest municipal corporation meeting, he noted that it's been a common practice for persons, including livestock farmers, to kill, prepare and cook animals for consumption for private events such as family dinners and parties. But he says in many instances, these persons are in breach of the public health butchers regulation and could face jail time if caught.
Particularly if the action is being done at home, where there's no slaughter place, where you have two who are designated area for slaughter. The person doing it doesn't have a butcher's license and would not have met other requirements. The law did not make a distinction between the slaughter of animals for personal use and slaughter for commercial purposes. So it means that a breach occurs or can occur in any of these cases.
He says the Public Health Department is stepping up its crackdown on such breaches of the butchers regulation. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, says the fire in one of its buses in Halfway Tree St. Andrew on Tuesday night was the result of arson. Deputy Managing Director in charge of operations, Neville Francis, says the fire was not started in the bus's engine.
The engine compartment have some sensors which trigger the information on the computer in front of the driver. That certainly was not the case.
Okay.
People just were in the bus and they ball out fire.
The bus was moving, by the way?
Yes, at the time, yes.
Oh, so the fire was on the outside?
No, the fire started actually in the bus itself.
Both fires are under investigation. With this latest incident, though, the police is on board with this particular one, or Managing Director Paul Abrams was on site, and the information that he's received from the police is that when they checked the engine compartment, there was no tampering, there was no damage.
Speaking on TVJ Smile Jamaica on Thursday, he added that the cause of the fire in the JUTC bus in Bull Bay, St. Andrew last Friday is still being investigated. A fireman and his 2 teenage children are now homeless after fire destroyed their 4-bedroom house in Knox, St. Elizabeth Wednesday morning. It's reported that sometime after 9 o'clock, the Santa Cruz Fire Department, where the father works, was called to the scene of the fire. When firefighters arrived, the house was already engulfed in flames. The owner of the house, Yon Minot, explained what happened.
When I do further investigation, I asked my daughter. She told me that when she was in the house, she saw some smoke coming from the back. And further investigation, she realized that there was a fire at the back. When she went and started, the fire got into the ceiling, and quickly the whole house was engulfed in flame before she get the chance to call the fire department.